Today, I'd like to talk about weight loss. Back in 2006, I had the lapband put in. I lost over 120 pounds. And then in 2010, during the winter time, around January, I had come down with pneumonia. And with all the coughing, the lapband had moved. Back then, they were still doing the lapband the second time, but not the third time. So in 2011, the lapband was replaced, and they still have it. And I've been keeping the weight off until like 2.5, 3 years ago when the weight came back on. And now I'm right back where I started with my weight, around 400 pounds. Back then, you had two choices, either the lapband or the gastric bypass. And the doctor had talked me into having the lapband. Now, if the lapband moves, nowadays, they will not put in a second one. It's automatically gastric bypass or a sleeve. Now, the gastric sleeve is something new that they do, which here, let me show you. Now, the lap band went up here. And the gastric bypass, they cut this up here and brought it down to here. Now, what they're doing with the third option is over here. Now, when you do the gastric bypass and you have one shot of whiskey, it would be compared to somebody who has a stomach and they have 5 shots of whiskey. It automatically goes to your head and into your bloodstream rapidly because you only got the acid in the stomach to break it down. And it's that acid in the stomach which breaks down the food and everything else to make it easy to digest. Now, with the stomach removed because of the gastric bypass, you don't have those acids no more. Now, over here where it's shaded, right here on the back, is they cut this here off. And they wrap it with something and use titanium staples. Now, you still have your stomach down here with the acid and everything to break down the food, but instead of like being at full width over here, it'll be cut in half. The back portion is cut in half. The length will be the same, but instead of being like this, it'll be cut down to like this, the diameter. So today at 5:30, I have to go back to orientation and start all over again with weight loss meetings at the orientation in Cooperstown, New York. Now, in the past, I would have went there in person, but because of the coronavirus, they're doing everything by video conference. And Bassett Hospital in Cooperstown, New York, will be using Zoom. Now, I have to wait until springtime to even go under the knife again. Usually you have to wait 6 months. Now, the doctor who did my surgery the first 2 times, he had retired. And they brought in a new doctor. Now, it took me 6 months to get to know the doctor and to trust him to cut me open. And he turned out to be a real good doctor. Now, the 6-month waiting period I have to wait is going to be an opportunity for me to get to know this new surgeon. As long as it's not a medical emergency operation, you should always get to know the doctor who's going to cut you open to do the operation. The reason is you don't want him or her to botch it. So get to know the doctor, where they went from medical school, how good were they as students, and then how good are they in the practice of surgery. Now, some doctors specialize in certain fields, and where I'm going, this doctor, she specializes in the weight loss surgery, just like the other doctor did. So whenever you go in, you need to see if they're a general doctor or if they're specialized in certain fields. And if they are specialized in the field that you're going to be having the operation for. As long as this is a non-medical emergency, you want to get to know the doctor. And if it's life-threatening, where you don't have a choice, that's going to be a different story. Now, the lapband worked great for a long time. And then, let's see, 2006, it worked great for 10 years, 12 years. Then 2.5, 3 years ago, I started putting the weight back on. Now, some people do great and never put the weight on with the lapband. And then some will be like me. They will go like 10, 12, 13 years with the weight off. Then it will creep back up. And that wouldn't necessarily mean the lapband is good and bad. Because it, with the gastric bypass or the gastric sleeve, is just a tool. It cuts down on portion control, but you have to watch what you're eating, because it's going to be high calorie, low carb, and high protein, low calorie, and carb diet. Now, the first month or so while you're on fluids, and I recommend getting protein powder when you have that type of operation, because you're going to need to get your protein in. And a lot of weightlifters, people go to gym, they use that extra protein powder to bulk up the muscles. Now, if your body is starved from protein, it will start eating away the protein muscles in your own body, and you don't want that. So you're going to be a good month and a half on fluids. So you want to make sure that you get some sort of protein in the shape of a liquid form. It could be a protein shake or the powder mix, which you mix with water. And you can mix it with milk. You can use whatever type of milk, regular milk, 2% milk. The combination of the protein powder and the calcium coming from milk, as you well know, the bones need the calcium to stay strong. and with the protein and the milk. You would have to keep it refrigerated, and this way you get both. And if you're unable to keep it refrigerated because you have to go out, then I recommend mixing the protein with the milk for when you're home, and then mixing the protein powder with water for when you have to go out. Now, you won't be able to drink the entire glass the first few weeks. You have to take small sips. And the reason for this is you need to give the stomach a chance to heal up from the surgery. I've been through this twice already, and this is going to be my third time if I decide to go ahead and do it. And if I do do it the third time, I'm hoping to keep the weight off this time. And thank you for listening. Have a nice day and stay safe from the coronavirus.